Hello friends, I am CA Rajesh Sarin. Today I'll discuss the topic on TDS on sale of immovable property by NRI. So friends, TDS has to be deducted by a residential individual at the time of purchase of property from NRI, non-resident Indian, or at the time of making payment to NRI at the rate of 20% plus surcharge plus cess. The TDS rate will be 20.8% if amount of purchase of property is up to 50 lakh, and if amount of purchase of property exceeds 50 lakh and it is up to 1 crore, TDS rate will be 20.88%, and if amount of purchase of property exceeds rupees 1 crore, then TDS rate will be 23.92%. So it depends upon the amount of purchase of property, that how much TDS has to be deducted. Friends, there is no threshold limit specified under Section 195 of Income Tax Act. It means TDS has to be deducted irrespective of purchase amount of property from NRI. Like TDS has to be deducted in every case. Thus, only rate will be changed depending upon the amount of purchase of property. So friends, it is buyer responsibility to deduct TDS, and buyer has to obtain TAN number like tax deduction account number, and he has to deposit a tax within 7 days from deduction of tax, within 7 days from the end of month in which TDS has been deducted by buyer. So he needs to obtain the TAN number by filing form number 49B. He has to deduct the TDS and deposit with the government authorities within specified time, and buyer has to file the return in form 27Q so that NRI or seller can get tax credit. So it is primarily buyer responsibility to deduct TDS, and seller has to apply for lower rate of deduction of tax from its assessing officer or from income tax department if seller want to reduce his tax liability. Otherwise, there will be huge tax deduction amount for NRI, because TDS will be deducted on gross sale proceeds, whereas tax has to be paid on only capital gain tax amount, which will be sale proceed minus purchase value. So how much tax will be deducted or applied depend upon the tenure of holding of property by NRI. Like if property was held by NRI below 2 years, then short-term capital tax gain will be applied, and if tenure of holding of property by NRI exceeds 2 years, and long-term capital gain tax will be applied. So friends, there are few conditions and parameters which I have discussed that both buyer and seller need to be taken care, like applicability of TDS, which depend upon the residential status of seller only, because if seller is NRI, then TDS rate will be 20% or 30% as applicable as I discussed, and if seller is resident Indian, then TDS rate will be 1% only under Section 194. So it depends upon the residential status of seller only, and what will be TDS rate, what will be amount of TDS, what will be long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain, which depend upon the tenure of holding of property. So it is very important section from the both buyer and seller point of view in case of purchase of property by NRI. NRI can apply for lower deduction certificate in form number 13 by applying to its assessing officer, and he has to show and submit some document in order to obtain lower rate or nil rated TDS certificate. So there are certain documents which seller has to submit for lower rate deduction certificate, like sale deed, what will be sale amount of property, what will be purchase amount of property, what will be holding tenure of holding of property for computation of capital gains. So there are certain documents which need to be submitted with the form number 13 to obtain low rate certificate from assessing officer, so that his TDS amount can be reduced, because otherwise huge amount of TDS will be blocked for NRI, and then he has to apply for TDS refund after 1 year or at the time of filing of ITR only. So friends, I have discussed in detail about the provision of section 195 of Income Tax Act on the purchase of immovable property from NRI by a resident individual. So friend, it is very important section and we need to be taken care from by perspective from buyer or seller. So I hope this video will be useful for you while doing any kind of deal from NRI by any resident individual. So friends, I hope this video will be useful, and please like and share this video and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.